I'm going to win, but you might not, because I can persuade you not to cast it, because you think your lightning bolt's different to my lightning bolt. And he loves that, the way the human frailty plays into the match. And here we go with round 8 of Grand Prix Orlando 2012 with Sheldon Menery and Rich Hagan joining you for Osip Lebedowicz against Michael Jacob. 2 North American players, as you might expect, here in North America at the Grand Prix circuit. The 2004 Pro Tour Venice champion, Osip Lebedowicz, getting ready to go against one of the real stalwarts of the modern North American game, Michael Jacob. A world champion, no less.
No less.
2008, Memphis, Tennessee. Sam Black and Paul Cheon, his cohorts in crime, as they took down the team world title. So players getting ready to go about their business. Osip Lebedowicz playing Titan Ramp. So he kicks off with a Forest on your left. Michael Jacob with many color control.
Many color control. Looks like a rampant growth off of Osip. And he's already one ahead.
Michael Jacob, part of the RIW crowd in Michigan. There you see him in his Star City Games top and the trademark hat. I don't think there's been a day warm enough for him not to wear. I don't think I've ever seen him without that hat.
I don't think I've ever seen him without the hat either. I've seen him take the hat off.
Oh, you have?
Yes, but but he still had it in his hand.
Oh, I'm disappointed. I did wonder whether it was welded. Permanent.
No, he's got that real Michael Stipe vibe going on.
So Jacob with pretty much the maximum number of cards in hand allowed. Osip's got 4 lands. Jacob is going to tap 3.
One of them white-bordered.
And I wonder if this is going to be a pristine talisman. It is. First really seen by Jerry Thompson. That was one of his innovations. Osip is going to activate
the next
and attack. We get next.
That talks to the fact that Osip's hand probably is kind of weak.
Yes.
With Jacob tapped out, you'd think he would want to
do more than attack for 1 poison.
Do more than attack for 1 poison counter.
Any prizes, I'm guessing, whether we drew the rampant growth this time? The thing is, we say that like it's incredibly obvious, but it's a mode of thinking that takes some players years to get into.
Right.
Why did you cast rampant growth this turn? Why didn't you cast it last? Oh.
Because I just
maybe you didn't have it.
Right.
Players who signed up for standard win a box number 10. Please come to side events. Players who signed up for standard win a box number 10. Please come to side events.
So Jacob is going to draw himself a bunch of cards, thanks to a bit of Blue Sun Zenith action.
Well, it's just a few.
What is the number on bunch, would you say? Does bunch need to be kind of 5?
Yeah, it's got to be 5. It's got to be 5 or 6. Yeah.
I'll go for a few then.
Yeah.
We amend. Blue Sun Zenith. Drew my Jacob a few cards. So Jacob only has the 1 Blue Sun Zenith in his main deck, so happened to find it early in this one.
Another talisman.
Yeah. So that's going to send the life total up a lot.
Yeah, that's getting a little problematic for Osip already.
The thing is, I mean, Inferno and Primeval deal with that in a hurry. And there is Primeval Titan, and there isn't.
And there isn't Primeval Titan.
And as a byproduct, I'm at 24. So certainly the Pristine Talon seem fantastically positioned against all these.
Yes. And there's Elish Norn.
Oh boy. Yep, only one of those, unsurprisingly, in that deck. The creature suite for Jacob is a single Snapcaster Mage, a couple of Phantasmal Image, 3 Sun Titan, and Elish Norn.
Inferno Titan, 3 to the skull. But he'll just get most of that back by casting something.
And of course, gone are the days where you'd need to actually find something to do with the mana.
Yeah.
Just go, no, actually, I'm just going to end the life.
Oh, and there's an O-ring for the Titan. And
just like that, scoop time.
Scoopy McScooperson. Well, Osip maybe didn't want to show him any more of his tricks, although I think his deck list is in a kind of an open book at this point.
Pretty much. I mean, if we have a look, he's got Rampant Growth, he's got Sphere of the Suns, Solemn Simulacrum to pile through. Metagame, plenty of board sweepers in Whip Flare, 3 of those, and 3 Slagstorm. 4 Galvanic Blast. Had quite a few people yesterday asking around for Galvanic Blast. It's one of those cards that occupies a niche where no one brings it with them unless they're playing it.
Right.
It's not in any of the decks that you're not playing randomly, that you know, just, oh yeah, I'm playing Mono River full Galvanic Blast. No, you're not really.
Right.
And then dealers, similarly, they come from all over the US. They only have a certain amount of space.
Right.
Galvanic Blast, just a common. And they bring in the rares and the mythics with them, by and large, and the uncommons. So, yeah, quite a few people were hunting around for Galvanic Blast back end of yesterday. BC Mike Jacob gearing up for his sideboard. It's easy to smile when you're 1-0 up, to be fair. I'm obviously enjoying something with OSIP, but that's what OSIP does for you. Mike Jacob, it's fair to say, we don't often get to show actual deck lists to people. I think it's probably fair to say, have seen more deck lists, arguably, than almost anyone in the history of the game.
Probably, yeah.
And you know, just as we on coverage, it's one of the dirty secrets of coverage. Boy, oh boy, can Magic players not write.
I was just thinking when we were looking earlier at one of the deck LSV. LSV, very, very meticulous penmanship.
Yes.
Very nice. There were no scratches or anything on the list.
Yeah.
Very neatly written.
Michael Jacobs' sideboard has
112 cards in it.
Not only does it have 112 cards in it, the amendments are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Arguably, there are 11 separate alterations to the sideboard, which now actually reads a couple of Ratchet Bomb, 3 Dissipate, an Ancient Grudge, 2 Nile Spellbomb, 1 Day of Judgment, finally! A deck that's running Day of Judgment out the board. 2 Celestial Purge, a Phantasmal Image, Blue Sun Zenith, Singleton Timely Reinforcements, and a Khan Liberated. That's what he ended up with. Perhaps if we talk to him after the game, we'll ask him what other 17 cards he once had in his sideboard. Deary
yeah,
me.
I'm sorry, I can't see what's scratched out here.
Perhaps he just doesn't want us to share.
Something started with an S. So what do you think he's brought in here? The additional Day of Judgment?
Seems reasonable. I mean, I guess the Dissipates are fine, aren't they? I mean,
Dissipates are pretty good.
Osip's going to try and get to 6, and even if he gets there with Rampant Growth 2, Sphere of Suns, Rampant Growth 3, he's still going to be casting on turn 4, and even on the play, that takes Jacob into range of just going to, okay, well done. Yes, you went ramp, and now I'll counter the spell that you ramped 3 times into. So,
right.
Yeah, so I guess the Dissipates are pretty good. Celestial Purge arguably comes in for the Inferno Titans. Obviously, they're narrow, but
well, the Inferno Titan, excuse me, is about the only thing that
it's the only thing that it would be useful for. But Jacob has to know that there's 4 of them, and in a sense, maybe he's at the point where you only need to kill one of them.
Right.
Because that's one thing that the Green Ramp deck doesn't really do, is recover from the point at which it's gone. I've ramped into something, you dealt with the first one, you've dealt with the second one, now what? Because now what is you start drawing your second Sphere of the Suns,
right,
or your second Solemn Simulacrum, which is no disaster, and ultimately you have a Devil's Play sitting in the background, sure, but in terms of putting cards back into your hand, very, very little. Does Osip have much sideboard-wise that
he's probably going to bring in that other Thrun.
Mm-hmm. There he is, gearing up. We saw Mike Postelnik in Austin last week, and he had one of the iconic, what I would call a real sepia-toned trophy shot. Because when you look back at LA with the glasses, and Osip winning Venice in 2004 with the big glasses, and he looks a very different guy now. And uncommon to see him not smiling, to be fair. As we get ready for Game 2, which is underway. Osip started Game 1 with a rampant growth, and this time he does essentially the same thing with Sphere of the Suns. Obviously he doesn't get a land out of the deck. Marginally less exciting, but a very mild difference. Land number 2 for Jacob.
Nate Viola and Brian Kibler, your standard winner box is waiting for you. Nate Viola and Brian Kibler.
That didn't sound like good news for Brian Kibler.
Sounds like he's in a winner box standard. Not winner some thousands of dollars Grand Prix.
Right.
He was running an interesting deck. He was running a green-red concoction that was sort of ramp, but not particularly Titan and not particularly ramp. Not particularly day 2, it turned out.
Turns out not particularly day 2.
So we're going to see a little bit of randomized action. It's a Phantasmal Image to go away for Jacob. Desperate Ravings. Again, such a nice marriage of flavor and mechanic.
Right.
So Osip is busy piling up his mana while Jacob is busy piling up card advantage with Forbidden Alchemy.
Not being able to put pressure on early is a significant disadvantage for Osip in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Karn liberated, going to the yard.
I mean, Jacob, certainly before boarding, is pretty light on counter magic. He has 3 Mallecan and Gate main, but then if he's brought in the Dissipates, that takes him up to a suite of 7. Then a Gate, not much use against a Titan.
We see him there use Phantasmal Image as really creature removal to kill Osip's Thrun.
And Osip will use Solemn Simulacrum to pile ever onwards in his quest for 6 as the magic number. Looks like he's got a Primeval Titan ready to go when he hits 6. Jacob still with a full 7 cards in hand. Laserland tapped. Oh, says, by the way, I've got another Forbidden Alchemy, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, you can almost watch as the control is established in this game. It's a slow build. But it's got a sort of inevitability to it. I mean, coming in, we knew this was a pretty good matchup for Michael.
Sure. And what seems to have changed since Worlds is that in Worlds there were no control decks that got there to the crunch. And here it's starting to look like maybe we're going to see some tomorrow, and whether they are then going to be fantastically positioned. very interested to find out how Ben Stark does down the stretch.
Well, especially if the decks that they're best against, and if they're really good against Delver, and the entirety of the field that they're going to be playing against is going to be, heavily tilted toward the Delver, yeah, they're going to have a really, really good day.
Right now, I think Ben Stark's in a very good place.
Well, he's a fantastic player, and genuinely one of the good guys in the game.
Yes.
The Florida community is very, very fond of Ben. A couple years ago now, I think it was regionals, might have been a PTQ. He drew in the last round to make top 8. Decided that he was going to go get something to eat. Went to a restaurant, left his deck at the restaurant.
Wow, that doesn't sound good.
Came back, and to make a long story short, the Florida community rallied around, put together his deck for him.
Rebuilt his deck for the top 8?
Before the last round was over, and he was taking any losses in the top 8.
That's awesome.
Actually, that was PTQ, because it was he had fallen off the gravy train, and that was the first of 2 PTQs in a row that he won.
Okay. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Once again, Magic community being awesome.
The sense of community. This is why the judge program is so powerful. Is the sense of community. Is the game is what has brought us together. But the entirety of the Magic community, the love of this game has brought us together. It's relationships that keep us together. It's all these people, these great friends that you may. Oh, there's Sun Titan.
Sun Titan. We like that. I think that's possibly my favorite of the Titans, because it isn't seen that often. It isn't your standard green-red and being around in Valakut decks and all that. It's, that'll be a fantastic
and his brother. Sun Titan, probably the second most popular of the Titans in EDH.
All right, okay.
The Inferno Titan actually doesn't see much play. Obviously, the green one gets played all the time.
Sure.
And there are a lot of games where people are... If somebody's going to have a clone target, if it's turn 4 and I have a clone in my hand, I'm going to wait till turn 6 till you play your prime time so I can get one myself. So again, Jacob establishing firm control of this game, I think.
Well, once again, Osip has... This is potentially the problem with Ramp. Finally, he gets to the point where he's got something to do with those Sphere of the Suns that are meaningful.
Right. And there's a good chance that it's going to get...
The Primeval arrives. Just see it peeking out at the bottom there. So he gets 2 land. So Jacob can't do anything about that right now.
Yeah, I think honestly,
have something in
Osip's only real path to victory here is probably going to be with poison counters. I don't think he can get to 20 damage through the double Titans.
Jacob fans out a large collection of graveyard. And a pretty hefty hand as well. Not to mention the board. So, Sun Titan.
It's back Phantasmal Image.
And the other one.
It's back land.
Off we go again. Oh boy.
And then we just cascade off of this.
So brutal.
This, when we talk about card advantage, this is what we talk about.
Yes. But again, a very different form of card advantage than what we saw in the previous round with Ben Stark going think twice, alchemy, into think twice.
Pretty sure the ramp deck doesn't have a Day of Judgment hiding any place.
No, I mean, he's looking at double slag storm, isn't he? Something like that as a theoretical way out of this.
Well, there's a Titan in his hand. There's an Inferno Titan in his hand, which can take out one of the images. And he's blocked the regular one, so now he can use his Wolf Run to kill an image.
Jacob passes the turn. Inferno Titan kills both.
Inferno Titan kills both, right?
So Osip back in the game with some cards. Looks like he's got 6. So he's fighting his way back in here. Michael Jacob has re-established his Blue Sun Zenith.
That's
I would like
probably a backbreaker.
So you see this hand down here that's like my hand of like 5. I thought I might draw a new 7 to go with it and then just sort of mix and match the best 7 from the 12.
Yes.
Is that alright?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So they... I think significantly rich. If we see here, I don't think Osip has 2 red mana. I think that the big problem for Osip is.
See there, we see the Kessig Wolf Runs targeting the phantasmal images, something we talked about at the start of the day.
Right, but yeah, the Inferno Titan he needs to get. He needs to get red mana to get the Inferno Titan.
Yeah. Conley Woods is nearby. I wonder how he's getting on. These days you can't really tell what record he's on. Conley is X1.
He's signaled that to you with a measure of confidence.
Yeah.
Like what else did you expect?
Oh.
Yeah.
So away we go again with Jacob Forbidden Alchemying.
Is there any chance he's going to deck himself?
Blue Sun Zenith. Round and round.
Round and round. Well, he's only got the 1 though.
Okay.
Eventually, if it's your last card.
I choose to draw X cards where X is none.
And
then I'll
shuffle it
shuffle
back.
Blue Sun Zenith back into my library.
Yeah, I guess you can get away with that.
0 is a legitimate cost for X, correct?
0 is a legitimate cost for X.
Ah. Oh well, that went alright then. No,
Although,
I don't think he's going to deck himself. Osip, I would like to make a Titan, please. I would rather you did not. Boy, do these control decks ever have to work.
Yep.
We saw it with Ben Stark. We're seeing it here with Michael Jacob. Remember, these two both have a loss to their name, so they're playing for day 2 right now, with the knowledge that the loser will have one more chance in the last round of the day.
Well, what makes control decks much more difficult to play these in the modern days than they were in the ancient times is the threat density today is much greater than it was. I mean, if you compare green creatures of mana cost 4 in 2012 with 2002, you have to worry about a lot more. You have to worry about... Today, I think you have to pick the right spots for your removal, whereas there was a time when, there's only a couple of good things that I need to get rid of anyway.
Flashback Forbidden Alchemy from Jacob.
Second Titan comes down for Osip.
Yeah, we've seen
going to the Dome. Interestingly, Jacob, no Pristine Talismans in this game.
No, Jacob just saw one and pitched it to Forbidden Alchemy.
He seems very confident. That signals that he's very confident in his ability to not take a bunch of damage.
There's a Sun Titan.
Which gets back Phantasmal Image. And our little chain is complete again.
And all of a sudden, from a blank board,
there's a lot of permanents.
And then an Oblivion Ring for the Inferno Titan. Oh boy, that was a turn.
That was a turn.
As we call it in the business.
Yes.
It's one quite glad capital letters got invented, because otherwise you'd have to talk about a turn and a turn, and that was a turn.
That was a turn.
That was a turn.
Again, even though Osip can wolf run and kill the images, he's still got to deal with the Sun Titan, which can, of course, just bring them back again. Osip cast Karn Liberated.
Wow. Big 7 mana, but Jacob says, I'm going to counter that, and we are done, and Michael Jacob wins, and that takes him into day 2. So there you see him, and hopefully you will see him right here sitting next to Mr. Sheldon Menery in a little while. Get a chance perhaps to tap his knowledge, his thoughts on Dark Ascension.
Yep.
Some of the cards there earlier in the day. We had one crack at it earlier on. I know you had a chat earlier, and we'll have another go. See what Mike Jacob makes of the cards that are probably out and about in Dark Ascension.
Probably a different perspective than Conley's.
One would hope. Because, I mean, the disconcerting thing is if we do like 4 or 5 of these, and all of them say exactly the same thing about every card, we're like, oh dear. That doesn't bode well at all. So, hopefully we're about to have Michael Jacob in the building, since it is a big fat 2-0 to him.